sorry about that. Apparently, OBS froze for a second. Hi, guys. Well, it just was so... Oh, my heart skipped a beat. Hi, guys. Welcome to Divide and Conquer's podcast. This is our ReRoll podcast. Tonight's topic is going to be magic versus non-magic. So... Before we get into our deep discussions, hey Shortbeard, I was just gonna ask you how you guys been. We haven't done one of those. How have you been? How's the family? How are you guys doing right now? Things are crazy.
Still alive. Still alive. Have not shown up on the news yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah. It's a good thing. I think, Jess, you just broke your finger like 2 seconds ago or something.
Yeah, no, I didn't, but, who knows? Maybe it turns out I did. Have to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Make a fist right now.
Nope. I have it wrapped right now. I'm not making a fist. I'm getting
out.
Lots of robot. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna turn off my camera just to see if that assists with that. Maybe it's something on my end. If you go where it says you'll see it says little video. You can just click that and it'll turn off the camera on your end. There you go. Maybe that helps on our little Discord.
Jeremiah, nobody wants to look at you. Turn your camera off.
Yeah, Jeremiah. God.
What?
My queen. So
my camera is off.
It's just your long-lasting memory, Jeremiah, that we all get to see. So, again, our discussion for tonight is going to be magic versus non-magic. Probably, as per usual, geared a little bit towards Dungeons & Dragons because that's what we play. But it really could be into like anything that we do, writing, stories that we've seen, TV, any other RPGs that we like. But before we get into our big discussion, as per usual, I think I'm the only DM right now, / GM. Do you guys have any questions for me about the past couple of games that we've had? Or do you guys have any questions in general for each other?
I have a question.
Yes. I have 2, 3 already pre-made, but we'll see. What's up, Jess? What up?
Jesus.
Yes, that is me.
What the hell was with that hag?
You have to be a little bit more specific.
So on Wednesday night, the Harry Potter group fought a fag. Yes. No, I'm sorry, a hag. My brain just died. Okay, we fought a hag.
Yes.
F's and H's got mixed up in my brain. We fought that.
I didn't really hear that, but okay. It's all good.
I think I might have said something, but I don't know if I did.
It's okay.
Anyways, so we fought a hag, and this thing was ridiculous and super creepy. And why you make it so creepy for us?
Because I get to stretch those little horror muscles. I like the creepy.
Because Harry Potter's not for little kids anymore.
That's true. The first couple of things, you guys have been noticing that, especially Griswold, because he has an ability that if any humanoid dies, his fungal infestation, his spores, can pretty much bring them back to life for a short amount of time, with the lowest stats of undead. But he's like, why? I've never been able to use my abilities. Because you guys haven't killed anybody. You've been fighting monsters. You're in the world of Harry Potter. You're not
We're not evil.
Yes, you're not evil. Also, if you kill something, you kill a person, that has huge ramifications because there is a wizarding community that's going to hear about it, and you guys are not part of the Ministry of Magic. So yeah, and like Dickie said, things are starting to get more adultish and more creepy, and it's being pushed a little bit more like the books were. You guys are now 6-year students. You're like, it's
some master's courses.
Yeah, you guys are doing your master's courses at the moment.
Working towards your PhD.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got a couple professors following you around, making sure you don't die, and we'll see how that works.
I really hope we don't.
But other than it's a hag, so hags are creepy. Hags are your
no kidding
OG folklore. Like this is the grandma that comes and steals your grandchildren and eats it. Like that's
yeah.
It's got to be a little bit creepy.
It definitely was. I did not like her climbing on the ceilings and making creepy noises at us. Nope.
Yeah. It's only a coincidence that both games interacted with a couple of hags, Friday and Wednesday.
Yep.
Because there's a limited amount of monsters and etc. and so much folklore that you can branch off of.
Yes.
But yeah, it's I know it's like, oh look, it's another hag. Oh, okay, well that's good. For the Harry Potter group here, there's a couple of things that have not been explored just because time, which I'm sure you guys will have plenty of time after you're done with this fight to discuss those things. But there was a couple things that were mentioned. Bones mentioned that this hag was working for Grindelwald. How do you guys feel about that?
I figured it was gonna happen with how the other guardian that we ran into, the nymph. Yeah. When she said she was helping Grindelwald, that's when I was like, crap. Because we have one more to go, and that's the Chimera. Yeah. And I don't know if Grindelwald's going to have a lot of pull over a Chimera.
Yeah.
We'll find out soon.
Yeah, you guys will find out really soon. Wednesday is a couple days away.
I know.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be interesting, and the fact that Grindelwald's basically saying, hey, keep an eye on these Velas that we're trying to help, makes me feel like they are important. So we need to help them as much as possible, and I'm excited to see how this plays out.
Well, there's also the entire population of Velas. You guys have pretty much seen 2/3 of it already.
Yeah.
So, there's not that many out there in the world.
No.
And, so that's kind of a thing. And I know Leon found a letter that hasn't been really explored too much yet, either. That I don't know if you guys had any theories on that at the moment. Because you really haven't had a chance to, sit down and talk. You've been... You've been going from Blizzard to undead zombies to magical looping forest. So, you really haven't had time to, sit down and be like, oh, what just happened?
Yeah.
You know what? Let's just sit down on the looping forest.
The looping forest?
Now? Okay, yeah. Sit down
just sit down and talk.
As the climax is starting to rise, and there's this body voice telling you to run away, and you heard a roar. Let's sit down right now.
Hurry, danger.
With a roar in the background, and I'm just like, oh, great. Jess is like, oh, great. Neff's like, okay, bring it.
Yeah, I think Neff would do very well in Friday's game, because Neff is like, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to fight it now. Let's do it.
Yep.
She'd get along with Orc Death real well.
Yeah, let's go fight something.
Now, if she drinks, she might fall in love.
She's, I think, still 16, so that might be an issue. 17, so that might
17 in times.
In the only 150.
Yeah, I see.
Nice.
I mean, they're still within the same age gap.
Yeah, that's totally the same age area.
Yeah, I think she still currently has eyes out for Bones' dragon brother, which is weird as heck to me.
It's funny. He's okay. When he's in his Vela form, he's hot.
Yes, when he's in his Vela form, he is attractive.
Except Lee likes to say, no, he's cold.
He is an ice dragon, so that makes sense, yeah.
Makes sense.
It's funny.
I mean, it is. So what about Friday's game? What are y'all thoughts on the giant city? Or the Duragar city that got overtaken by the giants? I don't know if you guys.
That's a thing. That's gonna be an adventure on Friday.
Oh yeah, for sure. You guys have a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
I just want to see if you guys have any thoughts thus far.
I think the problem is not so much the city and everything. It's the group wanting to talk their way through everything instead of figuring things out. That's why I was saying we need a diversion.
Yeah.
Because they overthink it too much. I mean,
I don't think from my side of the seat, I don't think that it's overthinking. I think it's more of a we have a plan, but once that plan has decided, let's rehash the plan again.
Yeah, and
which like Wednesday's group, it's depending on the players, it depends on the characters that the people are playing, because Wednesday's group, they plan meticulously to the point where like they have contingency plans for the contingency plans, but it's a different world.
So that works for me because I mean at least you're thinking on the possibilities of things that can happen.
Yeah,
it's just that sometimes I think the group overanalyzes it too much, and then they're on a tangent trying to overanalyze instead of saying, what's our next move?
Sure, yeah. Which, I can't say that's wrong or right. It just depends on the group. No. But yeah, and for like other DMs that are listening at the moment, and if you feel that there are like certain beats, and if you feel that the group should be pushed a little bit further, don't ever feel that it's wrong to be like, okay, guys, so what do you do now? We've discussed the plan. What do you do now?
I don't think you're doing anything wrong because basically the dungeon master or game master is basically at the mercy of their players. If the game master has to control the entire game, there is a major problem going on with this game.
For sure, yeah. Excluding like first-time players or something like that.
Right,
like,
exactly.
But so everybody over here is already
nudge them. You can nudge them a little bit and stuff like that. But you have to find the right point when to nudge.
Yeah, and
then they'll start thinking, well, God, I can't do anything.
Yeah, no, I don't think that anyone feels rushed. I think that like Orkdet has come into the party after Wes has been beaten down. He's lost every single person in his family. Laz hates pretty much everything that's happening at the moment. Ariel feels slightly disconnected from the group. Like there's a lot of everybody's friends, and I'm pretty sure everybody will die for each other or kill for the other. But there is that emotional disconnect at the moment.
Right, and Orkdet is not a diplomat. He is not going to sit down and discuss and try to figure.
Oh yeah,
he is there for one purpose and one purpose alone. And anything he sees that has nothing to do with his purpose, he gets frustrated. He starts drinking. He has to wait for people to get around. Okay, let's go do this. Like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, I'm playing Orkdet the way he is. He's just being impatient with the group.
No, yeah.
And he don't forget what I said last time. He's also getting turned off with the group, especially Laz and Ariel, because every time they show fear, that makes me feel very uncomfortable. Because if you're down here, in the 3 miles below the surface, and you're going to start having fear now, that doesn't give me a very comfortable feeling.
No, yeah.
And now our numbers are dwindling.
Yeah, and numbers are dwindling. At the moment, kind of looks like we're making more enemies than allies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it part to the writing, part to just that's how the game's gonna work.
Like I said, we're prisoners too.
But yeah, no, I really like digging and asking my players the questions so I can see how they're thinking. because you can say, "Oh, I'm acting this way." I'm like, "Okay, but why?" Like, I see the results, and as the neutral party dungeon master, that's what I'm going to be, just neutral about the situation. But I don't know the mechanics or the thought process of to why the character did such a thing. Because if I was the exact same race, the exact same class, in the exact same position, I would still not act the same way you do because we're different people. We can go through the same exact storyline and we'll come up with different results because we view how different actions and races and classes and abilities do the thing. So it's always, I think, for people that are learning how to play the game or just, I think this is one of those things where like you get really invested in and you just want to absorb as much information as you can. And the only way that you can grow better as a player or as a dungeon master is obviously experience, but another way to gain more little points in XP here and there is just talk about the game. Why did your guy do that? Like, you're like, oh, I never thought a dwarf could think that way, or I didn't think a paladin would do such a thing. Like, okay, that's an interesting thing. I never thought about that. It's
my point would be your first 3 words are correct. You didn't think.
What, one more time?
I said Orgus' attitude would be he would agree with their first 3 words they said. They didn't think.
Oh, yeah.
So.
No, yeah, I gotcha. And we don't have any further questions about anything of the games. Let's get right into the topic. Just waiting a couple of seconds, making sure no one has anything. All right, let's move on. So, magic versus non-magic. Firstly, we have a couple of things that Tauta and Vic sent us because they won't be here for the podcast. One of the questions I kind of sent out to everybody was, what is your preferred class to play? In any RPG, it doesn't have to necessarily be Dungeons and Dragons, either magic or non-magic. So Vic, reading from this sheet, says, my class options usually depend on the campaign or party or what the party calls for, or sometimes just when I feel like playing. Or just sometimes what I feel like playing. 9 times out of 10, I play non-magic classes. I like being a heavy hitter and the tank of the party. I like being able to do most of the damage I can while focusing the enemies on the big, beefy body to hit to keep everyone else safe. So at the moment, they're playing a bard in another campaign, and this says that they're terrified because they're really weak and squishy, and magic can only do so much. And Tabitha, I prefer magic classes because I am a long range bitch. I feel like I'm able to buff people. It makes me feel accomplished when I can aid the party in a fight. It feels like, yeah, I did something good. I usually use spells to allow me to sabotage the enemy from a distance away. And as for their preferred classes, Vic likes fighter barbarians for non-magical, and for magic, bards and wizards, druids a third. Or if they want to play the in-between, there's always the Eldritch Knight. Tabitha prefers magic, so druids are her number one thing, and then monks when it comes to non-magic. So, what about you guys? What do you guys like to do, preferably? If you, what do you tend to play most of the time?
Okay, I'm gonna start.
Sure. Yeah. What up?
With it actually kind of depends, but I think when I was first making a character with you for D&D for this Divide and Conquer for the Sacred World game, it was Carabao, and I think I have told you, like, even in video games, I like being that sneaky bastard that just you can't see, and then you just die. So. D&D wise, yes, I do like rogues. I kind of like the martial class, but a different kind of martial class. Archers. I like archers. Yeah, video games. I I normally play the DPS type in the back, where I just hit with just arrows or gun or something, but basically I just hit from afar with loads of damage and just try to help and protect me because I will die in one hit, kind of type.
Yeah, the glass
Uh,
cannon.
yeah. Uh, but yes, I do like. For the most part, I do like non-magical characters. Like, but um, as I was playing, I think Birderai is the only one. Like in the three main campaigns that I was playing anyway, because I'm yeah. Birderai is the only pure martial class that I'm playing at the moment because Leon on the Harry Potter game is a ranger, and rangers are kind of like martial slash magic.
Yeah, yeah, they are.
Yeah, and Ragnar is playing is an artificer, and it's the same thing. He's a martial slash magic user. Uh, but for the most part, I do like just being in the back, shooting arrows.
Okay, all right. I guess if we're gonna go further down, Neff, what about you? If we're going down the list here.
So for D&D, this is my first campaign,
Yeah.
and I've only played a barbarian, which is a lot of fun, I gotta say.
And he also picked one of the few non-magic based classes in a game that is heavily focused on magic.
Yep. It's interesting, but honestly, when I was picking out my character, I think if I remember right, there was like 3 different ones that I was stuck on. That I was like, I could be any one of these 3. I think it was barbarian, rogue, and warrior. Or no, not warrior, sorcerer.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And it's funny because I was like, okay, so what do we have so far in our group? And at the time we had a rogue and and I think
Sorcerer?
No, we didn't have a sorcerer at that point yet. Because after we started, that's when I was like, hey, to my sister, hey, why don't you join?
yeah. She was the last person to make a character.
So I was kind of I was kind of weighing the different options I had, and I was like, you know what? We don't really have a tank in our party. I could probably play that pretty well because in other games, like video games and things like that, I tend to be either a rogue or a tanky person.
Yeah.
My character type. So I went with Barbarian, and I've been super happy with it.
Barbarians are fun.
They really are. And yeah, I mean, because we are largely a magic group, it's a little difficult sometimes because I'm like looking at, oh, they could cast this, they could cast that, and I don't have a casting thing. I have a couple rituals I could do, but that's about it.
Yeah, because it's a Harry Potter world, we have quote unquote. Technically, you have a wand. Technically, your rage is a spell, quote unquote.
Yes.
And because you do have an arcane focus, you've learned like Expelliarmus, and you've learned the Patronus charm. So like,
right.
But those are technically, it can also be equated to like, oh, that's a magic item, and it does this if you do this. That's kind of how I'm rolling it.
Right, and I feel like it would be very interesting to play a magical character, like say a cleric or something like that. Yeah. That would be super fun, I feel like. But I really do enjoy personally the barb and the rogues, and they're just, they give a little something extra to the game, I guess.
Yeah.
So I think I've only played as pure magic user on a one shot as a warlock.
Oh yeah, warlocks
named Pineapple.
Warlocks are also the weirdest magic users in the game.
Yes.
You're very weird to do.
Yes. And anyway.
Yeah. What about you, Dickie? What do you prefer?
Well, I think Victoria pretty much summed it up. I mean, you can tell our DNA is the same. And just like Jess says, I mean, I prefer non-magic because I think the challenges are bigger and the rewards are bigger too. And I think that thinking on your feet, something about being a magic user, you always got something you can pull out and do this and do that. But something about being a non-magic user, you really have to scan the territory. You really have to see everything out in front of you and plan as you go along. But I like the physical part. I mean, my barbarian was legendary, and he was, kick ass and everything like that. But now Orgneth's picking up the mantle, and he just loves a good fight more than anything.
Yeah,
and I think I noticed one thing about magic users, and not talk down magic users, stuff like that. But sometimes I think they're more afraid to lose their character than you are if you're a non-magic one, because when you're a non-magic one, it's just you against the enemy. And if you don't make it, oh well, move on. And my next two characters I have planned moving in are non-magic users. But like I've told you before, I will play a character that will balance out the game. Whatever you need, I will play. So I'm very flexible on that part.
Appreciate it. I tend to like to just play what you want to play. If we have two barbarians, we have two barbarians. That's my job to balance, not the players. I don't want an entire party full of barbarians, but
that's gonna be so fun.
God,
we can pillage.
Oh yeah, you guys will pillage. Yeah, just one on the opposite and one correct spell at the right time. All right, all roll me intelligence saving throws. Cool.
Oh gosh.
There is that when I've been thinking about this specific topic, like what do I prefer playing? There is like almost like a challenge, like for the martial classes, that I need to work twice as hard to be able to overcome this. It's like, oh, you can cast teleport or levitate, sorry. And like, all right, well, I need to physically climb this mountain. That's going to take all my energy to do so. And it's a different story to tell. They're both masters at what they're doing. The studious wizard who is practicing hours and hours on end on very precise precision rituals, and they need to memorize the spells and learn the metaphysical components and how this dust reacts to the atmosphere and all this other complicated things that we can't even fathom, which is intense in of itself. But this guy, literally, his body is going to wear down versus your muscle, because that's how muscles work. Versus a wizard, they won't wear down. There is that the fighter is, they're going to take the hits at level 1. They're going to dish out the hits, and they're going to be fine. And then the wizard is going to take one hit, and all right, let's see if you survive it. Versus when it goes at the end, wizard is casting miracle while the fighter's like, I have 3 hits. Oh, but that skinny dude is casting meteor swarm. All right, I still have to fight this gigantic Baylor. What do I do? And it's just a interesting different dynamic on how to roleplay it. I know that the original, like the OG classes, we had fighter, rogue, it was cleric, fighter, magic user, and thief. So it had dexterity base martial, the strength base martial, arcanic magic, and divine magic. Which, like, arcanic magic is studious. It comes from the natural world, and divine comes from anything else, elemental or through nature or deities. It's so weird to me look, I understand that magic is innately complicated because it's something we don't have in the real world. So the book, how I look at the player's handbook or any of the books, essentially is here are numbers, minuses, and pluses because we humans are pretty much everything is zero. We are a normal thing that functions in this world. So to explain something that does not function well in this world, like a dwarf's constitution or that fireball, we need to incorporate these mathematical things. So it takes more to explain magic than non-magic. But it's gotten, there is the only rogues, barbarians, and fighters are the only non-magical class in the books, and each one of them still has a magic option, which is the book is written for magic. I just thought that was interesting. Especially everybody here says that they prefer non-magic classes versus magical classes in the few things that we've done. So I don't know. I think that's weird. I don't know if that's because we see so much magic in the book that we're like, I want to be something different. I want to try something harder. I want to challenge myself. Because I know some people, like I'm pretty sure Lynn loves magic users because... Yes. There's also a different thing that I've noticed for like in my position where I sit and I'm looking at the players, a heavy base like martial class, they know what they're gonna do. I'm gonna use this attack. It's these dice. I'm already prepared. Versus the super analytical player, it's like I have all these spells. All right, they did this. Okay, no, change that spell. I need to do this spell now. Oh no, now he's prone. I can't do this spell. It's gonna hit my friend. I have to do this other spell. So it's also a different style of play that I can see like Brian's would I. This is me putting words in his mouth, but I feel that Ryan would prefer to play a magic user because of the complexity that comes from casting all these spells and all the different outcomes that can occur in the fight versus just not that it's boring, but versus just saying, "Oh, I'm in the back shooting a bow." Like there's so much more that comes from that.
Yeah, because
I think you hit on something that basically saying that magic users sometimes get undecided because they got too much to do.
Yeah, which exactly goes to your point at the beginning. Yeah, that's exactly.
Being a fighter or a barbarian or a dwarf, there isn't a whole lot of decisions to either do or don't. It's not which spell I'm going to use or which one I'm going to use. Like Orc Death, I don't have very many weapons, so it's very easy for me to go to my main weapon, and I have another main weapon for distance.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Like I have my decisions already planned.
Exactly.
I know that. Sorry.
Oh no, because basically, when I'm playing as Ragnar, on the Friday game, is because sometimes I do have that mentality because Ragnar is a magic martial user kind of. Like he's kind of like in between the magic user and a martial class. Like he can just go right there, run in the front, and attack people. He does have 2 attacks, but at the same time, he can cast spells from the back. And how I built Ragnar is this tanky motherfucker that can hit hard, but at the same time buff people.
Yeah,
that's how I was designing him. But I do have some kind of ranged attack, quote unquote, Conjurer Barrage, my favorite one so far. And I do have that mentality like, oh no, I'm running out of spell slots, or like, how am I gonna battle this guy now? It was like, because I'm not really that much of a big hitter compared to Orc Death and West, but I can hold my own in the front lines. And then there's Murderai that go in, attack.
Yeah, Murderai is very specific. He hits one time and he hits really hard.
He hits very, very hard too because of his fighting style. And then also Leon, like I don't know why, or like I'm just in the back shooting a bow, but to me, like I know like different types of people, and I'm on that type of person where I do like just being in the back and shooting a bow.
Yeah, it's just
Like
fine.
it might seem boring to other people. I'll say choo choo choo. Well, but I like shooting a bow.
The heaviest hitter I have, except for a frenzy jumping barbarian 3.5, like without breaking the mechanics of how the world works and breaking rules. The strongest character I've ever seen be built was a human archer, a human fighter who just focused on his bow, and the dude can be in full plate armor with like the highest AC 600 feet away and be popping people and you're down and you're down and you're down and you're down. All right, next
wow.
turn. Like that's how they built their character, and it's like totally like non-breaking the rules, just using regular feats. Like archers are deadly if you focus on long range.
Because when I picked, like, as soon as I got sharpshooter on Leon, on the Wednesday
is a big
game,
difference.
And oh my god, I attacked. I was like, oh, that first attack missed. Okay, let me do my second attack, and it hit.
Yeah, sharpshooter is it's a beast of a feat.
Yeah, when I rolled the dice, I was like, on one hit, 17. And that was on a normal thing when I don't have a sharpshooter. 17 was kind of like my max, like average in the 2 attacks. But not a sharpshooter. 17 was 1 attack, and that was kind of a low roll because of all my pluses, and then the plus 10 added to it because of sharpshooter.
Sharpshooter is a big risk, big reward. -5 to your attack, but plus 10 damage.
But it was so good though. As soon as I got that, I was enjoying myself even more as an archer.
No, I mean it definitely feels good when you get those hits. We're playing 5th edition. In 4th edition, there is I did not like how the classes were built because everything felt like a wizard to me. Everything was just powers. Like you had martial powers, you had shadows, psionic, primal, divine, arcanic, and essentially it's like you have these 3 abilities, these 4 abilities, and you're essentially playing. It's kind of like how we do wizards now. Here's your card, do what your card says. And I think like the more that they because right now they don't really focus a lot on divine and arcanic magic. They state it as is, but it's not huge focus. It's like, okay, it's just magic. I think like that magic is already complex in and of itself. To make it even more complicated into subgenres of subgenres of subgenres, kind of like made people not really enjoy the system that well. But when you're a difference between playing and like reading or watching a show, I think that there's a lot of shows that focus on magic and try to explain magic. And in D&D, maybe going too hard into explaining it won't be as entertaining as watching it explained. I think that a writer loves magic versus most players, it's a pick or choose. The audience loves seeing the Harry Potter. Like, oh, how is he going to solve this problem? Well, look at this spell. It could be looked at as like, oh, Deus Ex Machina. He just now learned how to cast a spell, saves the day. Versus him trying so hard to struggle. Like that, whatever that inner spirit is that the fighter had. But I just think it's interesting because it's as I'm just reading here on my notes, there's essentially how I'm looking at it is magic. The realm of magic is usually some sort of like mysticism or something that defies like scientific law, and either it breaks some sort of like physical like limitation that we have, either a mathematical property, a law of physics, a law that governs the universe. Like it either like cheats that or re-explains it, or says I have my own rules and I don't need to abide by the physical world. And there's other stories, like I know a big one that a lot of people like to quote is Thor in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where magic is just science that's not explained, which I love that concept. There's I'm going blank on the name of the book, but there's a character in a horror novel that that said there is no such thing as supernatural. Everything is natural. As he's casting a portal to walk into hell. And like, what, ghosts? Ghosts aren't real. That's nonsense. I'm gonna go talk to Satan right now. Because if it physically happens in the world, in the universe that you are telling the story or writing or reading, if it happens, it is natural. I think that's really cool. I like that idea. You could also explain things in a different way. Where like, well, how did the laws of physics were bended? Well, a deity in place, Deus Ex Machina, just comes in and bends what I need to bend to make that thing happen, make that healing property take effect or whatnot. So with a little bit of spoilage, what about y'all? What do you guys think about the subject of magic being explained in the world, or the mechanics, or magic not being explained, and why that's good, and like what stories you've written or read or etc.?
Basically, magic is supposed to be mysterious, so therefore it can't be explained. Because if you can start explaining it, then it kind of loses its quote-unquote magic to it.
Okay.
I think people like the mystery part, the parts that are not being explained.
Yeah, so. I like that. I haven't really thought about that. Yeah, because I try to find, how does that make sense? But yeah, explaining magic takes away the magic of magic.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I didn't think about that.
That's actually really good.
Because there's
You know, I was thinking when you were talking about magic and this and that, and about, you know, humans being people without magic or anything. And I started thinking about Gamma World, which basically deals with the apocalyptic future, where you do have your pure strain humans, your humans that are humans. And they don't have any powers, but they have lots of advantages, such as computers can recognize them, such as all medicines work towards them. While mutants, even though they have certain powers, not all powers are good. Some powers are defects, and that they have to live with. So, you know, magic, I don't see anybody having a defective magic, because everything they got works.
Yeah, that's, yeah. The only one, and like you had to specifically build this class, and again, this is for Dungeons and Dragons, is so there's two that I can think of. Just the wild magic sorcerer. And it's pretty much, it's a gamble. Anytime you cast a spell, you gamble to see if something weird can happen out of 1 through 100, either really, really bad or really, really good. Like, oh, I'm casting a simple healing spell. All right, roll a percentage. Oh, looks like you casted Fireball on yourself. And instead of healing yourself, you just killed yourself. Or it's random of like, I'm now 10 feet taller, or I'm blue, or I aged 20 years. Or it could be something like I regain all my spells that I've used, which is like the point of that is the gamble aspect. Like, oh, wild. There's also the Blood Hunter, which is you hurt yourself to be able to gain a new ability. Like I can make my sword all ice now, but I have to cut myself to imbue my sword with my own blood. There's not too many mechanics like that. I know in 3.5 there was in I think like the Fiend Folio. It was like one of those like dark books. There was like a sadomasochistic class where the more you damaged yourself, the stronger your hits were. And like the picture was a guy like literally biting his own skin off as he was in flames. And but that's like a different thing. That's not part of it.
It's a little morbid. So
yeah, I mean it's in the book about demons and devils. So yeah,
and that's the thing that gives it a bad name, because people will jump on that and start saying, "Well, see, I told you, it's, you know, devil worshiping and all this bad stuff and all this negative stuff." Seriously.
Yeah, people will do that. Yeah, for sure. I've had some interactions like that, which are hilariously dumb, but it's happened. No, yeah, you guys have given me some things like, this is why I like doing these, because like, oh, that's an interesting idea. I never thought about it that way. It's cool. Another thing that I never really thought about was let me try to read this word correctly because I completely misspelled it. Physiological abilities that are like so as like the example of invisibility. I cast invisibility on myself, or it's just you're going from like explaining the magic in a non-magical way. Like it's just my race. I can turn invisible. My skin literally just absorbs the light and reflects what's behind me, which is a cool little concept to think about. When I couldn't explain some magic in the older systems, I would say that, well, there's magic and then there's supernatural abilities. And I didn't really have a word for it, but what I described as supernatural was just body chemistry, essentially. That these races, these different entities, these aberrations, their body does not work in the same fashion as a normal human walking. There's planets out there that the surface of the planet is so cold that you touching it will set you on fire. There's planets that the light bends so differently that everything is a shade of gray. There's no differentiating colors. So like there's you can still have weird magical effects in your stories, but it's because the laws of our little blue planet don't necessarily work the same in those planets. And if we're going into like sci-fi, this documentary that I was watching pretty much says that our little blue planet floating in space is the freak of nature in the cosmos. There's so many. The fact that we have this one medium-sized sun and we're perfectly distant from it is such an anomaly that it's just, why wouldn't there be a planet made purely out of diamonds that has a sea that is burning hot and every other hour it rains salt? That's more normal than us being able to eat from the grass that's on the floor. Like, so Star Wars, there's a lot of weird stuff that you could explain in Star Wars. A lot of weird magic things and weird races.
Sure, the Force.
Yeah, and then the Force is kind of I love those in the stories. Like, you just gotta believe, and it happens. Like, oh, all right, like magic? No, it's something else. Oh, okay.
Well, I think, like being a writer, and I'm writing a science fiction type story and stuff like that, you don't want to get too much detail in what you're describing because you want the imagination of the reader to take over at that point.
Yeah. There is
that way you don't have to worry about describing every insignificant thing that's going on.
Yeah, there was a thing that Stephen King, like on his methods on writing, that it's, you can't, and like I feel this way when I feel that I'm doing the opposite of what he wants people to do when I dungeon master. Sometimes I'm like, I didn't explain how squeaky the door was, or I didn't explain that the place smelled like fish. Like I forgot that little detail. I wrote it down, but I forgot to say it. But like he writes, it says that you essentially you need like a paragraph description as an example. Doesn't have to be, but like when you come in, you explain the sawdust on the floor. You explain the onion smell. But I know it smells like onion and fish. But if I put both, I'm having contrasting thoughts. Too much detail takes away from the story. Like you said, let the imagination take place. Like the imagination fill in those spots.
Same thing as being a dungeon master, and the players don't want to give away too much.
Yeah.
Let their imagination work a little bit and let their questions help you develop what they see.
In my earlier years, I explained too much. Like I would have a sheet of paper per like scene, and I noticed that that's as I was describing these things, some of my players were like literally just turn away, like because it was too much. Then when I started cutting it down to half a sheet, they started paying focus more. When I turned it down to just a paragraph of explanation, like here's what you see. This is the basic information you need. Some key details, either because I think they're cool, it's something different, it's contrasting to the last things we've seen, or it's an important key detail that you need. Because like, oh, you need to know the door is red because that's part of the puzzle. Can't like forget that little bit as an example, and that makes them like, oh, so the floor is made out of dirt, but weren't we just in cobblestone? Oh, that's an important thing I need to focus on. Let me ask more questions, and it keeps them engaged versus giving them like a thing that a little joke that I keep seeing over and over again. It was with some DMs, it's like if I explain every little detail of the room and have so much focus, I'm not playing Dungeons and Dragons. I'm trying to write a novel. I should just go write a novel.
You're trying to sell a house.
Sell a house, yeah.
And I think you do a really good job of giving us the details that we need when we're playing and not filling it with a lot of and you happen to notice on this wall that it's it's a gray color but like a different kind of gray than you've ever seen before or something like that you don't really need to see in your mind. I mean, it helps expand that world, but you can honestly the player and the audience for sure can fill in a lot of those details on their own. And I think that's what's interesting is everybody kind of looks at the base knowledge that is given to us and they fill in stuff that others will not.
Yeah.
I think that's the key to an experienced dungeon master or game master is that you know when to fill in the blanks and when not to fill in the blanks. Well, like you're saying, somebody trying to get you to understand every insignificant thing. That's a dungeon master or game master that's more in tune on what they did instead of being in tune with what the players are going to do.
Right.
Yeah. I feel that for sure. Oh, we have a comment on chat. I have my water bottle blocking it for some dumb reason. That no, Star Wars is magic. It's sci-fi, not science fiction. Sci-fantasy, I think. Sci-fan? Is that what it means?
Yeah,
okay.
Sci-fantasy.
Yeah, I will raise my hand so quickly to be the first to say in the room, I know very little about Star Wars. There are blue glowies and boom boom swords.
Like with what Shortbeard said, that I feel like he makes a point that yes, Star Wars is magic because of the Force and other things. Like yes, it's like spaceship and Death Stars, kind of like
it's set in outer space.
Travel. Yeah, yes, it's outer space. It's kind of like science fiction, and because laser swords, but I think it does make more sense that it's a science.
Yeah, it's
fantasy.
It's the hero's tale. It's from what I remember. I could be completely wrong, but I thought it was it was pretty much a medieval story. Just it's not a horse anymore; it's a speed racer.
Yeah, it was like there.
Basically, yeah.
There are Shortbeard added. There are wizards and knights who fly spaceships.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you are a Jedi Knight, right? Like that's what it is. You have a code of honor. You have you're pretty much a honorable fighter with the religious code. Yeah, that's
wizards in space.
So, we have a question as I'm trying to open my notes over here, and try not to burp in front of the mic. Oh, excuse me. Vic, question. Based on your IRL ability as a person, which magic class would you be?
Ooh, good one.
Like me as Jeremiah?
So based on Jeremiah and Jeremiah's abilities, what magic class would you be?
Magic.
And for the fun of it, let's also throw
like
what
wizard, cleric,
yeah.
druid.
I mean,
like
if you're not like I wouldn't, I would be a fighter. Then why? Why do you think you'd be that? What up?
With me, Jeremiah. Well, like I think it's just because of favoritism of rogue
Yeah.
and stuff. But like I don't feel like I am a magic user, and maybe because of the martial arts training that I have received, like I feel like I would be either a fighter or a rogue, because like yes, I am a big boy, IRL, but I actually kind of move faster than a lot of people. That's a lot smaller than me.
Yeah, it's. I think how I like to explain it. Back when I used to be extremely fit and would go to parkour training and exercise with sword fighting instructors and all this other stuff. It's there's a difference between your big muscles, the barbarians, and your stabilizers, like those little in between muscles that are just quick, that explosive capability that like a dexterity based fighter is a toned motherfucker. Like their body is perfectly intact to react so quickly that in my opinion, the dexterity based fighter, your rogues, are highly efficient machines versus your barbarians are, yes, they might exercise here and there, but that's functional muscle. That's I need to exert energy right now and push this giant boulder out of the way that is God given versus super trained rogue. So there is a difference between those, and they both can have the same body, give or take a few pounds here and there, but be used completely differently.
Yeah, but with me too, at the same time, I'm like not trying to brag or anything, but I'm unnaturally strong. I don't know why. Maybe it's
because of the
Filipino blood, the Filipino
is the Filipino blood.
But so to answer the question, I don't think I will be a magic user, but I might be a barbarian rogue.
That's fine. Those exist. Those exist out in the world. I've seen a player make a half-orc barbarian rogue. Yeah, that exists.
Like either a barbarian rogue or a fighter rogue, I guess.
Yeah,
let's say like that, or so, but definitely a rogue because of my quick feet.
Those sexy calves of yours.
It's the drumming.
It's that double bass. That's what it is. What about you guys?
So for me, Jess, I could see me being a druid for sure. Because personally, I work with a lot of animals and animal rescue. And I'm not joking. Like I actually do. There's, and on top of that, I just have an ability with. It's kind of weird, but I can usually read an animal pretty well and determine.
You're empathetic to animals.
Yeah, I can communicate with animals in a weird way, sort of.
A regular Dr. Doolittle.
I wish, but no. I think I would honestly be a druid because I've communed with animals in my own little way. I have so much experience with different kinds of animals. I always wanted to be an animal.
Yeah.
So I could honestly see me turning into an animal. Yeah.
A shapeshifter druid.
Yes. Polymorph all the time, baby.
There's nothing wrong with that.
So I could totally see me being a druid for a lot of different reasons. And plus, magic on people who hurt animals, because no.
Just don't be a
That's
jerk.
a big no.
Yeah, don't hurt the babies. Dickie, what about yourself?
Basically, I've always been the only time I was a magic user in any type of games because my brother needed a cleric, so I was a cleric. And don't have too many memories about him, so I'm guessing it really wasn't that much fun. And a lot of the reason I want to be a fighter is because I don't have any background memory or knowledge of magic users. I really don't know what kind they are. I really have never studied them or, looked into them or anything like that. So, I've always been more of the, I guess, being an athlete or a former athlete, I should say, that I, used to be in the physical part and doing things, especially basketball where you're running and jumping and, like you said, your dexterity and strength, when they're balanced, you got a very, very formidable foe right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, what about you, Jesus?
I want to say that I would be a druid because all the babies I have.
Join me.
Yeah, actually,
and I, being a vegetarian, don't like to hurt any animal. My long life dream is to have a rescue farm. But I don't think that defines me. That's just like that's just me being like, no, just don't hurt animals. Like that's just common sense. And I really think that that I probably would be a bard.
I was actually gonna say
a
that
College of Lore bard. Like I'd just be class wise, I think I would be a bard. I just like to read. Let's discuss philosophy. I mean, I've been a singer since I was like
growl.
15. It's a different type of vocals, but yes, I'm in like I feel completely comfortable being front and center on stage. I mean, I've co-emceed events at South by. I've done panels like for a couple hundred people. The first time I met Vic was on stage where people are like, just entertain them. We don't know what we're doing. And we're like, oh, okay, let's pretend to be steampunk characters. That's not hard for me. I mean, we're doing this. We're broadcasting our thoughts to people to listen. Like that's pretty. I like to entertain. I want to be the center of attention.
You're creative and you like using your creative abilities.
I like to stretch those muscles, those brain muscles. I would probably be like, to fill in that, which wasn't part of the question, but to fill in that druidness, I'll probably be like a racial wise, I'd be a gnome or a furbog, like something that just lives in nature and like they are part of nature. A cow roaming by is just a cow there, it's not meat. Like we're just buds. But yo cow, I wrote a song. You want to hear it? Like that's so. I would think I would be that. Hey, someone who doesn't have dyslexia and confuses words. Who
I was
wants
to read that actually?
Thank you. I was like, let's read the chat.
Because Short Beard says, though I love to tell stories and do a lot of voices, I've been told I'd be a wizard when I find something I am fascinated by. I dive deep into as much as I can. I would study magic as hard as I could.
Yeah, that sounds like
probably sounds like an illusion wizard.
Illusionists? Yeah. Illusions are fun. And I see my friend Jordan who would definitely be a druid. I think that would be maybe a druid with a good voice. That would probably be how they would play their character.
Yeah. Like I have a additional to that one question of who would you be IRL?
Yeah.
I was like, but what would you think each person would be? Like basically Jesus, or what do you think I would be? Knowing me as a person, kind of like that.
Jeremiah. Let's see. I'm getting running, stretching over here. Jeremiah, what would you be if I could? What would you be? What would you be? I think Jeremiah, if I could make you into a class or race, going with the topic of magic versus non-magic, still being part of the conversation vaguely, I actually think, Jeremiah, you would be a very Dexy-based half-orc.
Half orc.
Yes, I would say that you would be a very Dexy-based half orc, and I would put you in as a rogue because you would be a highly intelligent individual, not necessarily focusing on a lot of magic or anything like that. Again, using that kind of to the side, a new conversation.
Using a different type of brain matter.
Yeah, I would fit your physical abilities as a half orc, but that focuses on dexterity, and I would probably pick your class as a rogue, maybe like an inquisitor type of rogue. You're a smart boy who uses their brain, but you'd stab a bitch if you needed to.
Yeah, if I need to, like, yeah.
And rogues do have a lot of training that they need to go to, like the Thieves Academy or stealing from pickpocketing that takes skill and time to master and perfect. That's what I would place you as if I would be honest. I don't know if everyone's gonna have a turn on what they think you would be. I don't know if anyone has a different opinion.
I very much see him as a rogue. I mean, the ranger is close because I could see you. For some reason, I could see you out in a field or something and just being like, using tracks to find people and be like, aha!
Well,
they went this
I am
way.
a Boy Scout.
There you go. See, I knew I was coming from somewhere.
Yeah, I was an Eagle Scout.
But yeah, I could definitely see that. You being a rogue, or ranger. As for, I don't know. As for race, sure, what you would be. Maybe half elf. You seem very light on your feet.
I am. I think it's just all the air in my belly.
Okay.
Sure. We all have that issue.
But yeah, you seem dexterous, light on your feet, and just
you have a lot
graceful.
of
It's a natural grace to it. Yeah.
You have a lot of. Your hands and your feet are in different places at different times, especially when we do death metal. So you have that dex hand coordination. You have a sleight of hand somewhere in there.
A sleight of hand somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere in there we'll have a sleight of hand.
Proficient.
Yeah.
Proficient.
Yeah.
Proficient and trained and all that feats.
All the feats.
But yeah, with that being said, because you already said it because with Jesus, I think, like me personally, I was gonna say bard because of just you're like
my little screamies.
I can absolutely see Jesus bard for sure.
That's how you just gotta do it, and I think you're gonna be an elf because of your flowishly good hair.
Oh,
that's your perfect hair.
Yeah, that's just that's 100% racial bonuses right there.
Like I was gonna say with Neff, with Jess.
Yeah, it's fine. Neff and Jess are interchangeable. It's all good.
Like with Jess, I do kind of see you as a barbarian just because of just how you are.
Yeah.
Like I kind of see you as a barbarian, but maybe a barbarian bard too.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Exist.
Because of just how you were like,
barbarians.
Yeah, barbarians, man.
Barbarian, yes. Oh my gosh.
With race, to tell you, I have no idea what kind of race to put.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, humans are the most complicated race. Humans are very complex. The mystical human out in that supernatural race of humans.
Yeah, and with Dicky, I just see him as a barbarian, ever since I saw Reefer, I was like, that's totally Dicky.
I think if I could place a class for Dicky, I would put him as an Eldritch Knight. Not necessarily because he focuses on spells, but based on his intellect. He's a skilled, trained athlete who has foreknowledge and uses that foreknowledge in whatever he's using.
Yeah, that's true. That actually makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
That's what I would pick. But that's just me. That's I think I can see Jess being some sort of sorcerer. It's
really?
It's a magical energy that you have. There's a contagiousness around you that you bring a specific type of, which could be bard, like Jeremiah said. But I don't see you running to the center of the stage. I just see you sitting there, your natural flow, your natural energy, and then it's like, what up? I know I can read your expressions. Let me help that out. All right, there you go. You're fine. Let me go hug an animal now.
Yeah. Yes, I can do that. I could see that. That's I like it.
Yeah.
How do I see everybody else?
Yeah, let's
Jeremiah would be a monk. I can see him being a monk.
Yeah, that was a
it's that dexterity.
Yes. I can see him like that, also in tune to nature and things like that. Jesus, slap a white beard on him and make him a wizard.
Wizards are good. Wizards are good.
Because he's got that look. I mean, when you do your commercial on Hogwarts, when you kind of raise your eyebrow and jab the wand into the camera, wizard right there all the way.
I want you to know that I've never, ever played a wizard, ever. And I'm always tempted, but someone already picks it, so I'm like, I'll just be something else. I have never actually played a wizard.
Now, Jess is hard to call because the only thing I know about her is her character in our upcoming game, which she has the coolest name out of all three of you, because Tabitha, I'm waiting for her to decide what she wants to do. But, talking to her and going over her character and things like that, I can see her more as kind of a warrior, but with some kind of a magical twist. So I don't know if that'd be a paladin, a ranger, an elven warrior with magical powers.
Yeah, like basically like a martial class, but with some magic.
She's not afraid to get her hands dirty. She's ready to jump in there.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's very much me.
Yep.
Oh man, I truly cherish these discussions. You guys have no idea. They bring such joy to my life. They really do. But I mean, those are all the notes that I had, to be quite honest, on today's conversation of magic versus non-magic. Unless anyone has anything else to throw into the conversation, as I awkwardly wait. And the awkward wait has stopped. But yeah, I guess that will conclude our little spiel for today. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in and spending a bit of time with us during this Memorial Day. Which, as per usual, just little pluggies here. We have merch. The info is down below. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Anchor, the info is down below as well. Same thing up for YouTube. Please support our friends that are doing the Alistair Project. If you need any dice vaults or dice trays or DM screens, you can go to Talon and Claw's Etsy. Use the promo code Divine Conquer, get 10% off at checkout. Please support
in the near future, dice as well. Thailand.
Yes. Yeah, the pre-order is still happening, right? I think they're
pre-order. I don't. Oh,
for their Kickstarter. Sorry, for their for the dice vaults. Yeah.
Yes.
If you guys want some whiskey barrel dice vault, go to Kickstarter.com and you can just hop in Town Hall and you'll be able to find them. Please support art. Please support your local artists. Art is something that is dear to me and thus must be protected like a baba. Please be kind to each other out there. We are in odd times, and it is very troublesome that people are being jerk faces to one another when we should be trying to help one another. It's a very weird concept to me to be mean to somebody.
It's kind of the wheel of fortune. Right now we're on the bottom part. We'll be going back up.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Please be kind. Please just be safe, be practical out there, people.
Mm-hmm. We're just trying to in a way everybody is suffering. So just be kind to each other. You don't know what they're going through.
Just remember the words from the famous man Rodney King, who once said, "Why can't we just all get along?"
Exactly.
Correct.
Just pull up some dice together, have a quick little game.
Go play D&D.
Just be nice.
And if you have a friend that's never played before but is curious, it's time to turn them towards us.
Yes. It is a contagious game. I've best
time to catch somebody would be right now because they're so bored out of their mind they'll probably try anything.
Yeah, I have only met one person in my entire life who's actually sat down, made characters, played D&D, and he said, "You know what? This isn't for me." And I'm like, "Excuse me? You go to Renfrew all the time. You're a musician. You like almost all type of art. You are a storyteller." Like, no, I don't. I think this is limiting. Like, oh, dang, okay, all right, fair enough.
Make him a game master. Then we'll see how he feels.
I think you would be a good game master, to be honest. It might be the rules. I think it's at that point, just write a book.
When did he tell you this? Mm-hmm. When did this happen?
Oh, this is like high school. This is
okay. Reconnect with him, see what he's doing now.
I'll see what's up. I'll see what's going on with their lives. But all right, guys, thank you so much for listening. Please take care of one another. All right, adios. Be safe, guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.